Welcome back into the 6th episode of Mates Intakes, a show in which we rank things that should not be ranked. I cannot stress that enough. This shouldn't be a show. But you're in with me, Oliver, and as always, I'm joined by Cam.
That's me.
And Liam.
It's 305.
Today's episode. It is ranking our top 3, what we believe to be the greatest moments in sports history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was really tricky.
It is a little difficult.
As always. But.
Yeah, it is kind of tricky.
I was stumped initially, and then I felt the flow of just like picking all my picks one after the other.
Mm.
I think it was like the really cool thing about this category, although it might be difficult, there's so many cool things to choose from.
Yeah. And no matter if we personally disagree with each other, they're all going to be fantastic.
They're all pretty solid. Yeah.
I imagine they're all going to slap.
Yeah. Okay, I'm kicking us off with
I have criteria. Did you have criteria?
Oh, yeah.
Did you have criteria?
No.
Just sport.
Yeah.
So I do actually just have a little bit just to clarify, because they do kind of like hamstring me down the line. But I just wanted to make clear. So I've considered it as like one solitary instance. So Lionel Messi scoring 93 goals in a calendar year doesn't count. All Blacks going back-to-back in World Cups doesn't count. So, ideally for me, this is one performance in one moment. Otherwise, it would be top 3, athletes or achievements or something like that.
Okay, that's your criteria.
Yeah, I'm not saying this is just how I selected mine.
I was also just going to say there is a way to work around that. Like, for example, you could pick the second World Cup final in which the All Blacks repeat.
Exactly, yeah, definitely can do that. And if you want to have, Michael Jordan's final shot for the Bulls, which just caps off like such an illustrious career, absolutely, I get that. I just ruled those out for myself. That's not to say that I discounted them for anyone else.
Yeah, this guy's just trying to beat us on veteran mode.
I also,
Yeah.
I also took into consideration, this is where it gets like a bit full on, impact on the world beyond the result. So like, what I was thinking was, if you get a buzzer beater, right? For example,
we might have the same number one.
For example, earlier this season, and you're going to hate this, the Bulls were playing the Warriors, and the Bulls were winning, and then the Warriors pulled up a 3 as a buzzer beater. Now, was it very dramatic in the moment? Yes, absolutely. And there have been multiple really dramatic shots across history or performances across history, but like, just another one comes along. If you think about the vast amount of sports, an upset or a dramatic moment of a performance happens daily, weekly. So I tried to take things in that were like even bigger than the sport itself.
I think that's like almost the main thing to consider here.
Yeah, definitely. Like you can have, he had a really good
buzzer
game.
beater ever?
For me, it was like Jeremy Lamb. He was playing for the Hornets to beat the Raptors, I believe. I think it was just a regular season game, and there was a full breakdown of the play, and he just heaved it up to win it, and it was from way, way back, almost half court. And the reason I picked that is the shot was like so slim chance of going in, and he also is not like a mega superstar. Actually, I already said that. It's Damian Lillard. What am I saying?
Yeah.
Yours?
Yeah, Damian Lillard against the Thunder.
Yeah.
Mine is actually me against Oliver a few months ago, and it was very close. It was very tight, and I also am not a recognized superstar, and so for me to actually get a shot of such low percentages, admittedly, it was a layup, but for me, that's a low percentage shot.
Buzzer beater is just a last second shot.
Buzzer beater is the last second shot. Thank you.
Can't say I remember that, but
Yeah, well, I mean, you're not the one who's got it framed on your wall. And then I also I did just want to quickly shout out moments outside of sport that still have to do with athletes, but still this is like sporting performances or sporting moments. So even if it's like an athlete has done something absolutely amazing, for example, Muhammad Ali being like, I'm not fighting in Vietnam because like that's just a brother to me and on a humanitarian effort. Amazing. Yes, it exists. And yes, it is a sporting achievement, but it's not sport. It's an athlete doing a thing. So I discounted those as well, even though they're amazing. Not saying that. I also discounted those.
I don't think either of us have any moments that aren't actually while sport is happening.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's my criteria. Is that fair?
That sounds great. Certainly, like a lot of my decision making got like ranked up if all those things were attached to that certain athlete.
Yeah.
Like for example, you'll notice like one of my picks is like a moment that propelled someone's sporting career, and then I can actually make links to like how that sporting career then was so impactful outside of it.
Yeah.
My criteria are not necessarily in order, but like impact on larger society was probably the biggest thing for me, because at the end of the day, sport, although it's like this great thing that we can all enjoy, and it's this like leisure pastime, it also is like now this thing that anytime it can become more than itself, I think it's at its best. And so I think that's how I ranked it. Then impact on sport itself, ability to overcome adversity, storyline, context, unique circumstances. And I also chucked in there like pure athletic prowess.
Right.
I quite enjoyed all those things.
Definitely. Yeah. Just like pure expression of like strength or speed. Unbelievable. That definitely plays into one of my picks.
All right, Liam, get us going. Rip
boys.
into it.
My number 3, straight off the bat, Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Try and imagine the career of Michael Jordan, because these two GOATs are quite similar in the sense of the greatness that they've achieved throughout their careers. Some people would say that Tom Brady's a better GOAT than Michael Jordan because he's now got 7 rings. Okay, so try and imagine Michael Jordan when he came back with the Wizards at 40 years old. The Wizards made a couple shrewd trades, and then in their first season together, won the Super Bowl, or won the NBA championship. Except Michael Jordan was 40 when he did that. Tom Brady was 43 when he did that.
Yeah, that's a good comparison, although your overall athleticism between the two positions.
I've got that.
Okay.
The only reason this isn't higher on my list is because conditioning and athleticism required of NBA guards is much higher than a quarterback. Quarterback can, there's also a lot, like big differences in the sport, you know what I mean? You can play like 20 hard minutes in basketball as you play like 1 hard minute in football, and then there's a break and then you just reset. And
Tom Brady also notoriously, though, this is to help your point, notoriously was not in good condition. Like he was drafted very low is my recollection, and there is that hilarious photo of him just standing there like in a tracksuit or
baggy.
baggy, and he's just shapeless. He looks like mashed potatoes.
His draft combine is like so unimpressive.
Yeah, and then to go from that to being the most winningest guy, like
just like
locked in for a victory,
ice cold killer mentality, and like super smart.
Probably a demonstration of moments where like sport can actually be greater than just athletic prowess, what we were just talking about. Like it can actually sometimes just be this guy who his brain is operating like 4D chess, he sees everything.
Something that someone said, some celebrity, I can't remember who, Tom Brady is like the greatest winner in sports, but I don't think he's the greatest athlete in sports.
Is that kind of why you have this moment as like this cherry on top and crowning like the greatest winner in the history of all sports, in your opinion?
Yeah, because it's just like so impressive that he just went to his team was like, yeah, you're done. We think that you're done, and that we're happy to just pass on you. And then he like was like, okay, cool. Went to a new team, got some good players, but like new team, new city, first time. First season chemistry, won the whole thing.
Also let go by a team like Bill Belichick is notoriously a good decision maker. Yeah. Pretty shrewd himself. And so for him to make this judgment call on, again, the winningest guy, I mean, I get it. I don't.
It's always felt like the Patriots, and especially Bill Belichick, has always been like, no one's bigger than the team. Yeah. And they will sometimes they'll make bad decisions just to stick to their ethos.
Strong comparisons between the Spurs and the New England Patriots.
Yeah. I do think that one thing I would push back on is that this is, in terms of winningest athlete, I think, I hate to do it early ball, but like soccer has probably more winning athletes than him. In pure just stat line, numbers, dominance, time of dominance, individual awards, team awards, international performances, and domestic performances. And I just think that like does get lost if we go down the American sport path. You do, generally speaking, tend to fall on either like I like American sports or I like not this is black and white, but like, or I like European
I'll stop
sports.
you right there because Bill Russell has 11 NBA championships, but
Right.
I didn't pick him. You know what I mean? It's just this is who I feel, regardless of country of origin.
Do you feel this this Tom Brady moment? This is a genuine question, not loaded. Like, do you think in 20, 30, 40 years we're gonna keep talking about Tom Brady as like that guy? Do you think someone like Pat Mahomes is gonna become that guy and overtake that mantle? Or?
I highly doubt that.
Right. Okay. I don't know enough to comment.
Bro, we don't know anything about NFL, like he said.
Exactly. But yeah, I definitely think he's left a massive legacy.
Yeah. Just incredible. Crazy.
And completely recharged what it is to be just a quarterback. Like, you got to be that.
OD?
Wagwan. Wicked. My number 3 entry is Muhammad Ali versus Sonny Liston 2 in 1965.
Cool. Nice choice. Really nice choice.
It's such a good moment in time, guys. Let's just first talk about Muhammad Ali, the person. Regarded as one of the greatest boxers of all time. I think he's in the he'd be in like maybe a fluid trio of people. Mm-hmm. I really don't know enough about boxing, but this is just based on the fact that I know his name and I don't consume boxing like that. And through some research, what they kind of think. I think for me, I think you have to have a moment of Muhammad Ali in your top 3 because to me, he feels like the first athlete that really transitioned to becoming a pop culture icon. Mm-hmm. Like he was so much bigger than sport back when like sport wasn't really in that realm. And I tried to find someone, and if you guys know, I'd love to hear it, that did it before him.
Babe Ruth.
Yeah, Babe Ruth. And the other one that I would say is George Best. Again, he was just considered like the 5th or the 6th Beatle. But yeah, I completely agree. Like Mo Ali was right up there. Again, fluid trio.
Did you guys know that his footwork inspired Bruce Lee when Bruce Lee was putting together like a new adaptation of martial arts? Like that is so cool. He was scheduled to fight Wilt Chamberlain in an exhibition fight in 1971, but like in all the hype up to it, he trash talked him so much that Wilt pulled out. And also, I'm pretty sure Wilt's team at the time was like they put in his contract like a huge contract, like, but you cannot fight Muhammad Ali.
No fighting.
This was
fights allowed.
This was his first fight as Muhammad Ali after his name changed from Cassius Clay. Now there's some really juicy things that made this moment really, really important to me. And one of them was it has been just overwhelming. There has been this overwhelming controversy around it. Talks of a phantom punch, talks of Sonny Liston having connections to the mob, died under very strange circumstances when he was at a young age. This fight and the one before it was for the heavyweight title, and I never realized this, but Muhammad Ali was like a massive underdog coming in. Like Sonny Liston, in terms of his legend, like people talk about him as being like top 5 or something, like in terms of the heavyweights, like he is just ruthless. So Muhammad Ali managed to win the first fight and defended the title. And a lot of people see this as kind of like the thing that launched his career, to get that heavyweight title, to defend it. I guess that's the same kind of storyline where you create the people's champion that overcomes the odds and that connection with the audience. Here's my reason why it needs to be in your top 3, and maybe why I picked this fight over other fights. You want to talk about impact that sport can have on people, the kind of emotions it can evoke, and you want to talk about exposure to these things. Sure, you can see replays of things on the news all the time. You can click onto YouTube, you can watch it live, you can see replays. But an image that you can find on someone's wallpaper, on someone's wall, I would say is huge. And I would say the photo from this fight is like the most famous.
Is that the one where he's standing over him?
Yeah.
Going like this?
With the
I
Amazing.
actually think that is, you could make the argument. I'm happy to put it in like a top 5 because I don't know too much, but I think it is like one of the greatest sporting photos of all time. And I think photos like that now aren't as powerful as they used to be, but something like that on the cover of a magazine used to just slap.
I'd say they'd be on like every top 10 list for sporting photos.
Surely.
I think if you went down to Ringside Gym in Frankton, every person who trained there has had that as their phone background wallpaper at least once.
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably more.
Yeah.
I definitely have. Not
yeah,
that I've ever been. No, I've never boxed in my life. I've never thrown a punch in my life. And I'm like, that's a cool photo.
If you talk about boxing goats, people get like pretty fired up. You know, everyone's got their own goat. People say like Sugar Ray Robinson is like real up there. Like, but if you talk to anyone who isn't like Floyd Mayweather, everyone will say Muhammad Ali is the GOAT.
Yeah.
Do you know Sugar Ray came to Hamilton when you and I would have been 13? So what's that? 13 years ago. And he spoke at Boys High and he did a meet and greet.
Really?
Yeah. Like just rocked up to Hamilton. I don't think he had any event or anything. He was just in New Zealand and he turned up in Hamilton and he came and talked to us and he had quite a funny voice. And I didn't know who he was really.
Shit.
Yeah. And
Sweet
I
guy. Sweet guy.
Yeah. And how about this? Like when you're 13 and you don't know shit about anyone, you're just like, this fucking guy's here to talk to us about like being good about God, not doing drugs, all that sort of stuff at your assembly. And then I went home and my parents were like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh yeah, Sugar Ray Robinson came. No, Sugar Ray Leonard, isn't it?
Sugar Ray Leonard.
Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah. Sorry.
Sugar Ray
My
Leonard
bad.
came in.
Yeah.
Sugar Ray Leonard came in.
I
and they're like,
that.
no, he didn't. There's no way Sugar Ray Leonard came to your school today. I was like, no, he definitely did. Very short and little.
Are you sure you got it right?
No,
though?
yeah, it
Okay.
definitely is. Yeah, it definitely is. No, yeah, great pick. I think it was the fight Muhammad Ali against Sonny Liston. So like Muhammad Ali, lovable guy, was also a bit of a psychopath and invented the like psychological warfare game.
Yeah.
I believe it was the Sonny Liston, possibly the first one. Could have been the second, and it might not even have been him. It might have been like Foreman or the Rumble in the Jungle. But he drove onto his lawn, his house lawn, and he got out of his car with all this press around him, and he was like, "Fight me now!" I'm pretty sure it is Sonny. He's like, "Fight me now, Sonny. Fight me now. We'll do it right here in your home territory. Fight me now!" Like he just got inside people's heads. And I think it was the first time trash talking was a thing.
There's a video of like Sonny Liston in a casino and Muhammad Ali comes up to him and he's like just trying to get in his face, trying to like talk shit to him. Sonny Liston pulls out a fake gun. So you don't know it's fake. Just points it at him, like blows a blank, and he just like hits the gap. And he's just like, shit's fake. Just like shoots at it. It's like jacket, nothing happens.
Terrible.
Terrifying. But that is my number 3. And I would like to
Solid
pass
pick.
the baton, that's the sporting reference, on to Cam.
So mine's also a boxer. You guys might have heard of Mike Tyson. And you might know that Mike Tyson in 1986 knocked out Trevor Berbick to be the youngest world champion in history. This isn't about that. You might know that Mike Tyson held the record for the fastest knockout, but this isn't about that.
He's going to do that again. Yeah.
You might know that Mike Tyson for a time was considered the scariest man on planet Earth. But this isn't about that either. This is about more recent Mike Tyson. 2020 Mike Tyson, and this one flew under the radar. But last year Mike Tyson fought a shark and knocked it out. I'm not joking. Mike Tyson had a fight underwater with a shark and knocked it out. And that to me is fucking insane. You said that Muhammad Ali was going to have an exhibition fight with Wilt Chamberlain. Imagine if you were like he was going to have an exhibition fight with a shark. We would have lost our fucking mind. Well, Mike Tyson did that last year in the Bahamas or Barbados in a bee country, and he knocked it out.
When Mike Vick was convicted of dog fighting
Yeah.
Did we celebrate any aspect of that?
Mike Vick had a dog fight a dog. He wasn't beating up dogs. He wasn't walking around fighting dogs. He was having his dog fight a dog.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson wasn't sending his pet shark or pet tiger in to fight a shark. He fought the shark.
So
It's a shark, bro. You know how they what's it called? Advertised it? Jaws versus Tyson. He fought Jaws.
Talking about Kid Dynamite?
We talking about Kid Dynamite v Jaws, bro.
Talking about Iron Mike? Talking about Iron Mike versus an aquatic.
We're talking about Iron Mike versus Jaws.
Cam, you're talking about animal abuse.
He'd have been like, I'm gonna make you my bits. I'm gonna fight you. I'm gonna slap you up, baby.
You know sharks have like a electrical impulses in their skin to where
Yeah.
they can like sense blood.
Yeah. Mike also can sense blood.
Did you also know that like if sharks get a whiff of an orca whale within like 100 kilometers of them, they'll swim to the other side of the earth rather than like face it. This like orca
And they do
whales
that
are
now
like
with Mike.
so deadly.
They do that now with Mike. They hear Mike coming, big bad Mike's rumbling in the jungle, bro. They hear Mike coming and they're going to the other side. They're going to like Antigua.
All right, classic Cam joke take.
So classic because it is like kind of problematic and it just throws to the wind a lot of his own criteria.
So I initially had him fighting Trevor Burbick, and I initially had how like youngest ever. And the story of Mike Tyson is like that whole scariest man on the planet. I think he is one of the few people in history who if he killed someone in the ring, like you believe it. You'd be like, yeah, he killed someone. He hit them so hard he killed them. And I remember reading that when he was a kid, he got kind of adopted by his trainer, Custamato. And when he was a kid, Cuss, which explains a lot of why Mike is so fucked up, he had him hypnotized so that every time he heard the ring of a bell, he wanted to kill someone.
Yeah, young Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Not good, man. Not good. Imagine that. You hear the ring of a bell and you want to kill someone. And he just breaks down now when he talks about that sort of thing. Also, credits to Mike Tyson, bro. He's got a one-man show that went to Broadway. One-man show that went to Broadway. You know who else had that? Previous episode shout out. SpongeBob went to Broadway.
Shout out SpongeBob.
Yeah, Mike Tyson's really turned his life around.
Yeah, good for him, eh? I mean, obviously, very problematic history. Lots of controversy. But he fought a fucking shark last year, bro, and none of us even knew about it. We were all worried about COVID, and he was like, man, give me that shark. I'm going to fight that shark. I don't give a shit. I'll fight that shark.
I can do it without that impression.
Yeah, now sound like Mike Tyson to do it.
I think this list deserves moments that we necessarily haven't heard of.
Thank you. Don't you dare say, but that's not one of them.
But that's not one of them. Definitely not.
I've got two really depressing and really intense picks, and I thought I can't have one where he wants to kill a guy and then two really depressing things. So, lighten the mood up a little, man. Light some candles, make it easy breezy.
I couldn't agree more. I like to really stick to the purity of picking the very best top three.
Yeah.
And I want Steen to know that because he will be picking a winner at the end. And just remember this moment, Steen,
when I dipped my toes in, I was like, I'm scared of no sharks. I ain't afraid of no sharks.
Yeah, I want people to know
Mikey
that I
T
take
got
this
me.
shit super serious.
Yeah.
And I love that kind of thing, though, because I don't think our listeners would have ever heard of that either.
Do you know what else I will very quickly say about it? So I think Dana White had something to do with it. And I think Dana White is basically the Lex Luthor of American sport. And if we keep going down this fucking American sport journey, that is going to be par for the course. By the way, Michael Phelps was meant to race against a shark. Michael Phelps, most winningest Olympian.
Yeah.
He lost. So Mike Tyson won. I'm just saying, We talking about winning. We talking about just fucking victories. Put them up against a shark and see what happens, bro.
First of all, couple of things. I need to know how deep the water was, how big was the shark, because if he beat
what was the
lemon
weight
shark
cut?
in
What's the weigh-in?
ankle deep water, yeah, whatever, man.
Well, do you know the answer to those questions, Cam?
I know that it's not it's not a great white or whatever. It's not a little baby He's not beating up baby sharks. I did see the photo.
Because
It's
like
around
people
about
club seals, bro.
yeah. It's around about I would say probably 7 feet, maybe the shark, 8 feet in length. And if I was to guess the weight, I would probably say weighing in after a cut. I would say it's a pretty comfy, like 100 plus kilos. It was a pretty big thing. It wasn't massive or anything.
A couple
but it is pretty
hundred
big.
kilos.
No, 100 plus.
I wouldn't mind Steen jumping on the mic and letting us know.
Can you confirm that it's like 8 feet?
So after some quick research here,
By the way, don't you dare say anything about that tonic thing that it's going to say. Don't say anything about that shit.
What's the tonic?
Nothing. It's just this gin and tonic thing Mike drinks. all the
let's
time.
just get the facts right. It was nearly 50 feet underwater, so it's not shallow.
It's pretty deep.
When I'm looking at the video, it's quite a baby shark. It's not very big.
It's not. I thought it was like about 8 feet long.
I mean, I need more time to look further into it, but it's not very,
there's 2 guys holding it down there. Like once
There
it
is.
gets taken out, they come down, they make sure it's all good, and both of them like take one side each.
Just have a quick look here.
Just for everyone to know, like the shark's about the size of Godzilla or something.
Yeah, what do you think of this?
Pretty huge.
It's right about. Just for those who aren't aware, I'm just showing Oliver here the video.
What do you think, Oliver? What are your eyes on right now, man?
So that's a big shark there.
Here's what I always need to remind myself of. It's not big, but if I was underwater and I saw that, I would shit myself. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So don't think of like
It's not Jaws.
Okay,
big.
well, as long as it's something that would scare you, then okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did actually do some kind of damage against a formidable creature.
Formidable, yeah.
Here's the worst part. Like they're on one of those things where you can just, swim with the sharks. So this shark is just swimming by. It's minding its own business.
Yeah,
and
this
he
is
sucker punches.
full on animal cruelty.
I could not agree more.
So
I just think. I also think he fucking knocked out a shark. That's all. A shark, which is a villain in Sharknado.
Cam's number
and
2
Jaws.
is a gladiator killing another gladiator in the arena.
It's killing a lion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we can move on from that shit and get Liam Dunn's second pick.
Okay, my second pick is Michael Jordan's final shot as a Chicago Bull in Game 6 of the NBA Finals against the Utah Jazz in 1998.
A lot of American sports so far and sports people.
Hey, man.
No, hey, bro. No,
They got a lot of the best sports. Okay?
Could you set the scene? So I know that I've seen the shot, but just set the scene.
Okay, so in the last 12 seconds of play in the Game 6 to win his 6th title, his second three-peat in 8 years or some shit. He gets the ball going down the field, pushes off his defender, hits a knockdown deep 2 to get the go-ahead. Bulls win the game. The reason why this is my number 2, not just because it caps off such an illustrious career, but when I think about that shot, that's how I remember GOAT Michael Jordan, the smartest, most battle-hardened, well-rounded, the most weapons in his arsenal version of himself. Just God tier Michael Jordan. And really, that's all I have to say. Oliver, I'm keen to hear your thoughts on this.
Did you just before make the argument that Tom's more winning than Michael Jordan?
The most winningest athlete, in my opinion, yes.
What puts Michael Jordan above Tom Brady for you?
In this moment,
Yeah.
because it was there's not Tom Brady in his in winning the Super Bowl where it was they were gonna lose and then he threw a touchdown pass to clinch the game, whereas Michael Jordan in his last game for the Bulls for his last championship took the last shot of his team and won the game for them.
There's a
So
narrative to it, right?
There's
where
an
it's
importance of this shot as well as it just being his last shot.
there's the narrative that Mike always controlled his destiny, right?
And also
he took the shot.
I feel like Michael Jordan's 6 championships have a more clean feel to them than Tom Brady's rings. He has 6 times that he went to the finals. He did it, and his 2 3-peats.
And also, Mike never deflated a ball, right, in any of those finals. So.
And Mike never punched a shark in any of those finals.
Which Mike are we talking about, bro?
I think when it comes to the sport of basketball, I would say it's the most important, maybe the most important moment in its history. There's probably a few flashbulb moments. In the context of bigger sport, it just doesn't start to leach out into any wider impacts for me. I don't have anything to do with Michael Jordan on my list.
Okay.
I think the one thing that I would say...
I will say this also. The only reason why it's not my number 1 is because it is a personal achievement more than anything. It's more just like putting the shine on his like 6th trophy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you could almost say his first 3-peat was the thing that launched Mike into like... he was the 90s, right? Space Jam, Jordans, Nike... He was everywhere.
It was the late 80s and the 90s.
No, sorry. His 3-peat, where he's done that, it's like, oh, this is Mike's decade. You know, he can do whatever he wants. He can have golf, he can have gambling, he can have baseball, he can do whatever. And then he finishes his second 3-peat, and it sort of ties it up quite nicely, but it's almost like, oh, the story is over now, and there's not going to be a sequel. And so you now have it, so it's like, yep, that's the bookend right there. So on the one hand, that's beautiful because the narrative is complete, and he's... like I say, he just fucking captains that from start to finish. The fiercest competitor. You know, if we're going to talk about, like, these are all abstract terms, but winningest athlete, you'd have to say Mike is probably the most competitivist athlete probably in history. Yeah. Psychopath.
The man's
in a good
demons
way.
When it comes to competing.
One of the things is, right, with all of these, like, performances is just, like, there is this underlying psychopathy behind every single one of them. Like, taking all of... I know Mike fought a shark, but ignoring that and taking like Trevor Burbick and that, all of them are fucking
out of your
crazy. They are psychopathic. Muhammad Ali, Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson. These are not people you ever really want to have a conversation with. These are people who you go, wow, that's amazing. Fuck, I hope I never meet you or bump into you in the street or like, you know, have to stand next to you in a subway.
Yeah, even the like quote unquote nice athletes are still psycho as fuck.
Yeah.
That's how they got to where they are.
Yeah, right? Shout outs to them. Must be a pretty full on life.
Well, it's funny. It's this really surreal experience watching the Olympics. I've been watching it with Hillary, and like we were watching the gymnastics the other day.
Shout out to Hillary.
Shout out Hillary, friend of the pod, lover of the pod. And we were like watching these young women compete, and we both went, it's so incredible, and this is a sport where we both put our hands up and go, it seems superhuman to us, the furthest thing from something we could do. But also, my God, there's a girl there who's 16 years old, and we both looked at each other and went, she hasn't had a life. Like, she doesn't have a social life. Her dad was her coach. Like, I mean, imagine that dynamic. And so I have so much respect for athletes and Olympians, but I actually would never wish for a lot of what they have.
No,
especially if they're moving to Egypt to inject steroids. But like,
and you were like watching the gymnastics, and you were like, "Damn, that girl looks like she's really professional."
She's so like Simone Biles, for example, is 4'8", and I almost had Simone Biles in here because
fair enough.
Did you know that Simone Biles has had 4 different skills named after her, and they are all the hardest skill you can perform in gymnastics? Like, so imagine that Michael Jordan jumper, right? And then being like, oh, that's worth more points now because it was so fucking hard. That's how good
they upped the amount of points you get.
Yeah, they changed their entire scale because they're like, oh shit, someone's come along who's even better than what we thought was possible.
Is this her 3rd Olympics?
Did you see everyone's
it's only her second.
Crucifying her?
Yes, she's 23 years old.
She like quit out because the stress was too much for
she
her.
had a panic attack
earlier
today, and she withdrew from the competition.
And everyone's just like, how dare you? Like, you're not the GOAT.
Oh my God.
She's won like
fair enough, man.
30 gold medals or some shit. The most baller thing ever. She's like, I honestly don't know how many world championships I've won. I just lose count. I think it's 28 or maybe it's 29. It's like, no, it's 30.
Hey, guess what? You win a single gold medal, you qualify for the Olympics. No, hang on. You try your best and you decide you want to tap out because you're having a panic attack. you can do it.
Yeah.
Everyone else can
I
shut the fuck
completely
up.
agree.
And also like the amount of amount of medals you would have to win to even come close to being like considered on her level. Like she could just retire now. Like who cares? You've done an amazing job. Just enjoy the rest of your life.
Widely already considered the greatest gymnast of all time.
Yeah.
Already.
What a beast.
And they fucking came second. So it's not like they bombed out because of her. Not that any of this is because of her, but it's not like they bombed out because of her. They came second. Silver, bro.
Yeah.
She fucking, slips over doing one of, by the way, the 4 hardest fucking skills ever. She does one little slip there and they still come second. And people are like, Simone Biles, we wanted to hate you in the first place because of a lot of unspoken reasons.
People are just looking for a reason to hate on greatness.
How about she also came out a few years back, I think it was 2017, and commented on how she was sexually assaulted by her coach, her gymnastics coach, and that the American Gymnastics Organization basically hushed her and kept her silent. So, and now they're turning around being like, oh, you're having a panic attack? Bro, how about the amount of fucking trauma that's built up? It's a problematic sport, gymnastics.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible athletes, problematic organization. That's a fucking theme.
I completely agree with all of that. It's ruthless how like we're here to celebrate great sporting moments, but I'm glad we're also pointing out a darker side that can come with it as well. If you guys are happy, I'd love to share with you my number 2.
Yeah.
I wonder if you know anything about Margaret Abbott.
Oh, great shout. Yeah. Yeah, great shout.
Cast your minds back to Paris, France, 1900. Olympic Games.
Okay, so black and white.
The first ever time that women are allowed to compete in the Olympics. But even then, they were really shitty about it. They said it was kind of running alongside the Olympics, and it wasn't until like I think the 1950s where they like actually sorted it out or something like that. So there were 22 women that competed overall, and that was 2.2% of all athletes at the games. She won gold in golf. She was American. God damn it, I didn't mean to have... I just realized all my athletes are American.
Yeah, because America's got the best sports.
Here's a really cool little thing. They didn't give the woman who competed medals. Instead, she got a gilded porcelain bowl. But hey, guess what? There's a ton of gold medals out there. I wonder how many of these Olympic gilded porcelain bowls are. I would argue those are more rare than gold medals. Special edition gold medal.
I would agree with you, but I bet she would have preferred a gold medal, buddy.
Yeah, probably. Listen to this. The reason why she competed in the Olympics for golf is because she played golf and she happened to be in France at the time. So she was like, what's going on? Olympics? Oh yeah, I'll play. The most badass. You want to know another thing? The dress code was long skirts and fashionable hats. She didn't show up like that. She showed up in a tight skirt and high heels and won gold. Dressed as that. Just amazing. Women's golf didn't return to the Olympics until Rio, the last Olympic Games. So as it stands, I believe like she is one of like so few women that have won competing in golf at the Olympics. So it's incredible. And here's the last reason why. I mean, I feel like I've kind of given the blueprints why this is really, really important moment, because I wanted to pick a point in time where women's sport was being pushed forward. And then I wanted to pick a really badass character and something super different and unique. And I know you guys would have never heard of this, but there's so much going on. Her mum competed in this same event. And that is the first and only time that's ever happened in history that
in the Olympics.
Yeah, mother and daughter have competed in the same sport at the same time at the Olympics.
Out of the Olympics, it's just called Bring Your Kid to Work Day, and it's not that big a deal.
You know, like Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr. played on the Seattle Mariners together and like hit back-to-back home runs together as like father and son. Crazy.
That's dope. Margaret Abbott is just such a fucking badass, and she deserves a moment in history, and so she is my number 2 pick.
Yeah, shout out Margie.
That's a great pick, Oliver.
Maggie A is crazy.
And
And
put some respect on her name, bro. Say the full name.
Yeah.
Dame Margaret Abbott. I'm not doing this to like override your one, but I just want to say like she paved the way for. Did you end up like seeing Didrikson Zaharias? Have you heard of her? Babe Didrikson
Is
Zaharias.
she a player or is she one who researched her?
What does the babe stand for?
Oh, that's her name. Yeah, Mildred Ella Babe Didrikson Zaharias.
Okay.
That's her nickname. So she is widely considered as one of the greatest female golfers of all time. But before she did golf, this is like a side one. I'm not entering this or anything, and you can just cut it whenever if you think it's not interesting. But she won 5 events at the Olympics in 1932, and then she got bored basically. So that was in javelin throw, 80-meter hurdles, high jump again, and baseball throw. Weird. And then she got bored and just started playing golf, and she won the US Women's Open in 48, 50, 54, Western Open in 40, 44, 45, 50, and won a full title in 47, 50, and 52, where she won a total of 10 medals during her professional status. So she just got fucking bored. And I thought that was her, but she's not doing any of that if old Margot ain't doing her shit.
Margaret, yeah.
Yeah.
You just reminded me by saying dame. You know how like it's dame and knight, right? Sir. Dame and sir. 2 things. How legendary would it be if you got knighted, first of all? Like, just showing up to some people that you haven't seen in ages, and they're like, yeah, Oliver Dunn. You're like, yes, sir, Oliver Dunn.
Yeah, well, I'm wearing a knight in school uniform, so, like, I'm halfway there.
But then also, there's also, like, a lot of controversy about the whole system in Britain, because, like, they won't knight black British people. They'll offer them the highest rank
MBA.
in the
Order of
army,
Merit,
in the
I
British
think.
army,
Fucking hell.
but they won't knight them. Like, they offered, I think they offered it to Skepta, and he was just like, get fucked.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty tricky to navigate the royal family and all their
I mean,
shittiness and just conquest
people
and
like-
representing fucking pretty
Yeah,
horrible
like
things.
terrible people.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, Prince Phil's dead. What a shame. No, that's an amazing pick, man. Margaret Abbott is like, how cool is it that just doing her shit on a whim, kind of, and like bossing it?
Also, okay, this is crazy little fun fact that I just realized. To my knowledge, she has never abused animals even
Wow.
once.
Yeah.
Certainly not on television.
1900s, she's probably wearing a lot of furs.
You can't prove that.
Ah,
You didn't even know who I was talking about, and you called her Margot. All right, moving right along.
Margot's short for Margaret. Okay, so like I
Candace,
said,
you can pick.
my next one is these two are pretty, well, not depressing, but like bigger than a guy fighting a shark. So in 1914, World War I going on, and have you guys heard of the Christmas truce?
Yes.
You have, yeah.
I haven't, but I assume it was like, we're going to stop fighting for Christmas.
Oh, I think I know what you're going to talk
And
about.
so the English and the Germans across the way, they kind of met in the middle. They buried their dead in no man's land, and sort of exchanged some gifts, and kind of, there was this interest about like, who are these people we're fighting? And then they just started playing a game of football. Multiple games of football occurred across the lines. Kind of accounts are varied because it's a war, and so people are just writing about a lot of stuff. But this was a moment where these two sides, who are literally trying to kill each other, came and met in the middle, and just kind of experienced football, which I thought was quite interesting. Well, I play football, but I thought it was quite interesting because, like, generally speaking, if you're talking about rivalries, you're like, oh yeah, the Lakers and the Clippers, the Blues and the Chiefs, Manchester City, Manchester United, and we hate each other, blah, blah, blah. In this instance, you're like, we're very possibly going to put a bullet in your head tomorrow. Let's come and play football and do it the opposite direction. So it was a nice inverse of a traditional rivalry where actually the stakes, for once, are lower. And so that's what I've got there. Not as fun, but nonetheless, I think
that's
vitally
a good pick.
important.
I think that's so cool. I didn't even think of anything like that,
Certainly thinking outside of the box. It is... I was trying to think like, does it like create any problems for this kind of list, right? Not to be like, because they're not athletes. I think the only thing is it like basically trades in impact on people completely for any kind of impact on sport.
Absolutely. So most of the accounts are that they like no one's bringing their little Nike T90 swerve ball to war in their little bag. You've got a lot of rations in there and canned beans and spam. You're not bringing your soccer ball. So most of the time they're using bags of rubbish. These are soldiers. They're obviously like no man's land is this muddy, horrible trench, like with a lot of fucking barbed wire and risks, and health and safety protocols would definitely say no. But they're still playing. So the quality is zero. But like you say, I trade in all of that. And fortunately, like I made sure that was why my criteria had nothing to do with athleticism. It had to do with moments that exist beyond sport. And the fact like that this is more than 100 years now. And whilst not something that is hugely known about, when talked about, you immediately go like, oh, I get why that was important. I get why that actually was a thing that is quite wholesome in a moment of just fucking death and despair and grey and grim and mouldy, rotting bodies.
Yeah.
I really like your t-shirt that you got on.
Thanks, man. He got it for me for Christmas or my birthday.
That's
one
a
of the
fucking
others.
solid t-shirt.
It's
And
Christmas.
that's a solid gift.
Did I go see you Christmas morning or was it Christmas Eve?
Sure did. Christmas morning. Often
So-
at breakfast, he said no.
Yeah, saw
I used to
saw
live
him
pretty
and
much
his
across
dad.
the road.
For
from him.
folks at home that can't see, it's an alphabet shirt that has for every letter of the alphabet an example of the letter as a word, but very interesting examples.
It's
It's
the
all
Navy.
Navy themed,
Oh, wow.
which is going to make Liam's mind go even crazier.
That's dope.
Do you guys ever worry that we will never get a real sponsor?
Yeah.
Don't interrupt me, Cam. I'm actually doing an ad. Struggling to find advertising for your show? Find yourself making fake ads each week to seem important and maybe get a couple of cheap laughs from your producer? Grow up. Well, that was the end of the ad.
Oh yeah, that is quite full on.
Didn't say which company was logging that job.
No, that is written by a company that have like a white. You know who that was written by? Like anonymous with their masks. They don't want contact details. They don't want
Guys, remember
information.
use promo code TAKES21 on checkout when you use.
We're not going to tell you which website to use.
Yeah, just keep putting in Taints21 on every website's promo code, and eventually you'll get a Domino's pizza for half price.
Keep putting in Tapeworms 21 in any kind of retail clothing outlet store, and hopefully they'll throw in a free pair of socks.
Yeah, or at least some medicine for your tapeworms.
Okay, gang.
All right, gang leader.
Okay, gang.
Numero uno.
I think, yeah, let's find out.
Oh, I know what his is. It's not ours.
Really?
My number one is Muhammad Ali's triumph over George Foreman at Rumble in the Jungle.
Amazing pick. Tell us more, Liam.
This victory meant so much more than just a boxing match. Apart from at the time doing what was thought unthinkable and defeating like the physically superior and in the prime of his life, just a hulk of a man, George Foreman,
Hoorah!
denting a heavy bag with his cross, like literally leaving a dent in the heavy bag after he's finished punching. Oh my God.
Hoorah!
He both physically and mentally broke George Foreman in this fight. Apart from just beating him, which everyone thought was undoable, he came up with the rope-a-dope, his signature move, outlasted him, mentally broke him by like in something in like the 10th round or something, when George Foreman thought he might be close to beating him. Muhammad Ali whispers in his ear, "That all you got?" And he,
Hoorah!
That's my thing, Cam. Done.
Whippy!
this bout was a metaphor for Muhammad Ali's battle with America and his ban from boxing over refusing to fight in Vietnam as a consequence, having his prime taken for him.
You better be reading this from your notes and not Wikipedia, baby.
No, I am.
Okay.
You know, imagine if Michael Jordan never got to play in his 98 season. That's what happened to Muhammad Ali. he was vilified by the media, called like unpatriotic, not an American. Ali did that, then he came back and still did this. I mean, the mental fortitude required just to step in the ring with someone is next level. But to go through what he went through and still come out on top and then win and reclaim his heavyweight title. I mean, like, Muhammad Ali is like, and the greatest of all time as a boxer, in my opinion, but like the top 5 best people of all time. So like a little tidbit is he went to Iraq and personally negotiated with Saddam Hussein to like free 9 American hostages in the hostage situation in Iraq. He used to run through the streets of, I think it's somewhere in Africa, the Rumble in the Jungle.
Zaire.
Yeah. No security, people running in the streets with them. You got to be a special kind of person to do that.
Man, you know how I feel about Muhammad Ali, having him at number 3, man. So couldn't agree more.
Do you think? Oh, sorry, you go.
With him being in this discussion.
Do you think we will ever have a Muhammad Ali character personality ever again?
In my personal opinion, no, because
Completely
of
agree.
the way that
LaMelo Ball?
I'm a Leangelo guy.
I mean, yeah, you're really a ride or die then. Nah, I just don't think because of the way that everyone is gearing themselves up, even from such a young age. Like kids are like used to talking to the media and stuff like that, and people are like, from a young age branding them, like treating themselves as a business, and they're all about how much money you can make. And
how about the fact that when Cristiano Ronaldo transferred to Juventus in 2018, the leading headline was that he had more followers than everyone else in the world on Instagram. It's like, he's also widely considered probably the first or second greatest footballer of all time. But, follow up to that is, he's also got 100, or whatever it is, hundreds of millions of followers on Instagram.
The conversation is him and Messi, eh?
Yeah.
In your opinion, who?
Messi, yeah.
Because I heard the argument that he was like, he's more of a team player, like.
It's just it's a personal opinion, man. You can watch one and you're just like, that is just brute athleticism. Some of the stuff that Ronaldo can pull off is incredible. His jumping, his 2-footed ability, his leadership is next level. Whereas Messi is just this like diminutive, got a human growth hormone deficiency. He's like 5'6" or something, and the ball is just glued to his foot. Like, it just genuinely depends on what you prefer to see.
Yeah, he can do some straight up like
Wizardry.
magical, like magic
Wizardry.
bullshit where you're just like, how did he?
Yeah, he's a FIFA fucking character.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
He's one of those FIFA fuckers.
Yeah, FIFA fucker. You gotta get him.
OD, what's your number 1, brother?
Love that pick. I love Muhammad Ali. Unfortunately, number 1 for this list is not even close.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
Yeah.
It's Jesse Owens
Yeah.
at the 1936 Olympics.
Yeah.
And we all know the story. He goes into Nazi Germany at the time. And let's do like a little bit of background. At the time, Germany was really using the Olympics to fuel and empower Nazi Germany, using it to spread a whole bunch of their propaganda bullshit. And you imagine at the time, the bro Hitler was chatting about this whole Aryan race being the superior race. Well, the bro Jesse Owens, who is African American, goes in and wins 4 gold medals, sets 2 world records. And this isn't in like, what's like a low tier Olympic sport?
Yeah.
It wasn't in table tennis.
What?
The bro did this in athletics. So we're talking the 100 meter, the 200 meter, long jump, and the
400 meter.
Nah,
No, it's
the
the relay.
The relay.
Yeah.
That's 400 meters.
It's 400 meters
It's
total.
4 times 100 meters, so he's correct.
Yeah.
400 meters.
You know, there's a 400 meter.
Yeah, I know, bro.
I was trying to figure it out. I was doing research. Was he regarded as the most successful athlete from that Olympics?
I think so. Yeah.
I think so too. Like, I think he won the most.
It's hard because the longer time goes on, again, as it should, his story persists longer. Like you could have a little German girl in there who's going crazy and swimming or something, but obviously Jesse Owens is going to be talked about for longer, so it gets muddied.
Yeah.
But yes, I think so.
Germany actually won the medals in that Olympics, but fuck that.
Germany invented methamphetamine. Of course they fucking won the medals, bro. They were out there doping before everyone else.
A little thing about your story that you're telling, the German athlete who was racing against him, congratulated him.
Yeah. No,
Sorry,
didn't he give him advice because he almost got kicked out after he almost got knocked out after like the
Preliminary
rounds. Yeah.
So they went head to head in the long jump, and when I think his name's Lars, when they first and second, and then they walked hand in hand around the entire stadium.
Arms.
Yeah, and walked around the whole stadium as sort of a demonstration against fascism. Which, as you can imagine, Addy H was not over the moon about. He didn't like it.
So my whole thing is like sport can serve a purpose outside of its original purpose.
Vacuum, right?
Yeah. And anytime it does that, it becomes this amazing thing and bigger than itself. And you see today's athletes advocating for positive change around, sustainability, around gender equality, around especially, fighting against racism. And you want to talk about a moment in history where someone physically beat racism.
Mm.
He took to that track, and with his athleticism and his willpower was just like, you're so wrong about this.
Yeah. And that athleticism stemming from hard work as well, right? Which is such like the propaganda, as you put it, bullshit at the time was all around, these vicious lies around either laziness or biological deficiencies. And so you go, well, there's both of them just fucking thrown to the wind.
I have one last little nugget, which just like, this is already into like outer space for me, but it gets me a little bit closer to the moon. But I wonder if I hold off on it to see if you have that point, because I know it's your number one.
Yeah, it is my number one. I don't know because there's lots of points, but
you go.
You have the same number one?
Yeah, we do. We definitely do.
So it's you guys versus me on this.
I don't think so. I think
no. It is.
I think.
And if I win, I'm Giannis, and I beat the super team.
I think
I don't want to hear anything about
you
it.
know that we're not on the same team because
Well, you are on this one because you got the same number one, and that's how it is in my mind. And from that moment on, I took it personally.
Well, let's put it this way: you're not going to win, Liam, so don't worry about it.
I think Steen can take into account he can do it however he wants. Who am I to say? But
he
can take into account all three immediately.
You'd hope
I shouldn't win. I shouldn't win. I'm not going to pretend. Well, actually, hang on. I do have the Christmas truce, which is crazy. I got two war themes. I got World War I and World War II in here, where, like you said, sport just transcends. It's where sport became transcendent. And in one of those, that is where a group of people transcended war. And in the second one, on either side, and in the second one, it is where an individual looked in the face. I was thinking about, like, there is basically no modern day analogy to this. The closest I could think would be maybe going into North Korea. And even then, there's just not the same vicious, like, you don't really want to talk about the numbers, and everyone knows the numbers. It's like 6 million Jewish people murdered, minimum, 6 million people murdered. And this guy looked in the face of like a borderline literal oven and went, "You are wrong. I am going to fight this the way that I know I can." And I actually don't know too much about Jesse Owens.
He didn't know that though.
Beyond
going into those Olympics.
Well, of course he knew. Of course, everyone knows about Nazi
In
Germany.
No. They didn't know about the Holocaust. They didn't know. People
right.
didn't know about that until the end of World War II when they found the camps.
Correct, but the messages and the propaganda are beginning. The seeds are being sown. Adolf Hitler is now in power, and what I more mean is he did what he did, and I don't know too much about his life afterwards, which probably is indicative of my own ignorance, but for him to do that in that very moment, again, much like Muhammad Ali, for different reasons, I don't think we'll ever have an athlete like that again.
Couldn't agree more.
But I don't have any little nuggets to take me to Mars.
Okay, my pushback on this is a lot of people have heard about...
Pushback?
for my number one to be the number one that
Right.
wins. A lot of people have heard about Rumble in the Jungle and they know the details. Not many people that I have personally spoken to know about Jesse Owens'
Yeah, that doesn't mean it hasn't affected people and the world.
We're talking about the greatest sporting moments. The greatest moment will be known.
I think ours is 1936, and I'd say it's pretty, especially.
I feel like mine is known.
Yeah, I'm the same here. I definitely would say that.
Hey,
the more people I talk to, but I don't have a
okay, no,
little
that's
Doge
great.
coin to take me
Yeah,
to the moon.
yeah. Here's a good little kickback on that. Sport. The only way.
Maybe I do know
yeah.
what yours is.
No, too late. The only way that people know about your fight, Rumble in Jungle, is because they're able to watch it on TV. The 1936 Olympics was
yes.
technically the first ever. No, don't act like you. The first ever televised, organized sporting event in human history. Granted, it only went out to a few places in Germany itself. The technically like the first proper broadcasted one was a college like baseball game or basketball game in the US. But for that boxing match to have ever been televised and blown up and been so big, you need the 1936 Olympics.
Okay, so
to
you're making the
start it.
case that more people saw it at that time, but that's irrelevant because I know about it and I wasn't there for the Muhammad Ali boxing match to see it in person. It got recycled. So the same thing should be true for the Jesse Owens Olympics should get recycled and I should see it after it's happened, but I didn't because it's not as great a moment.
No, I'm talking about sitting, like
Yeah.
doing it so that other things could do it.
He's saying that if
Yeah, I
the
understand that.
But having said that, I wouldn't say Jesse Owens has anything to do with that. If anything, you're actually applauding Germany's ability to orchestrate broadcast media, which is a little bit problematic. What I will say, though, as my own little nugget, which I thought you were about to say, is that the American Track and Field event award every year is called the Jesse Owens Award. And so the greatest track and field athlete for America every single year is named after him, which personally I think is a little bit more wholesome than being like, we wouldn't have his without Goebbels organizing yours.
Hey man, we wouldn't have Fanta without Nazi Germany either, right?
Bro,
So here
fuck
we are.
Fanta.
Yeah,
Fuck Fanta, fuck myth, fuck NASA. Jeff Bezos out there shooting off to the sky. That's only possible
I'll
because
tell
of
you
all
the
them
only
Nazis.
things that I like
fuck
from
those
Germany
things.
is Mercedes-Benz and BMW.
BMW made by a Nazi. You know, same with Audi, same with Adidas.
All right, I will put a pin in that and welcome in producer Steen, who, good luck, my guy. There's a lot to unpackage here.
Yeah, do you want to go with Nazism or the guy who protested the Vietnam War?
Or do you want to go with animal abuse?
This is a slight tough one. I'm still a little thrown off by Mike Tyson fighting a shark. Like,
Fair enough.
Positively?
Positively. I didn't expect it, right? But look, it's not the winner. It's not your top one.
No, it's not.
But hey, I'm delivering news to you by looking at you.
No,
So look
he's
back
like
at
a
me.
man. Yeah.
yeah, straight up.
So you guys have I guess you could say same.
Yep.
And we've got one odd out here. Unfortunately, the case in point that has been made by Cam and Oliver is much stronger than you, Liam. And I'm going to have to give it to them for this one.
That's fine.
So is it a joint?
Okay, wait, no, Steen, a long time ago, you told us you took into account the entirety of the top
Yes.
three.
And I actually wrote a couple of notes to myself. So now that it comes down to both of you guys, I've got it between Margaret versus a shark, essentially, right? Now, I'm going to ask Liam here as well what he thinks is the best, a shark or Margaret, essentially. It's a bit of a throw-off.
Like, what takes more physical prowess to do?
Yeah.
Or what's more important? Because what's more important is what Margaret did.
It
What
is
takes
the
more
best
physical.
sporting moments of all.
Oh, don't worry, I've made my mind up. I just wanted to get an opinion here.
Yeah, it's the Margaret
Do it
moment.
okay?
And I completely agree with you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do too. To be
The
clear,
Margaret
I do
moment
too.
is a clear winner. So
yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
technically, we're going to give this one to Oliver here.
I couldn't agree more.
And you'll come just second place.
Can you and I walk hand in hand around the track and just wave to everyone and be like, We're not that different, you and I.
And I just want to say, if I never win another chip, I did it my own way. I didn't join a super team. You know what I mean? That's real.
That's real.
I mean, we love to have someone that's not going to pick the obvious, like you not having Jesse Owens or you having a shark. And I guess I'll just keep cleaning house.
Yeah, and
Just to
straight up,
clarify.
can the SPCA look into Cam?
Just to clarify, do you guys think I think the shark here? I think Mike Tyson.
No,
You're all talking about a shark as if I'm talking about the shark's ability. I don't fucking care about the shark.
Yeah,
no,
shark,
Mike
the
Tyson.
shark is just a good keyword to bring up the point you
Okay.
made.
Okay, cool. No,
we've
I just wanted to
advertised
make sure.
Subway, and now we're advertising animal abuse. At
It was
this point.
Discovery Channel. It was on Shark Week, bro. That's all I'm saying. That's all. I couldn't agree more. I think Margaret A is infinitely more important.
Next week, Cam beats up a kitten live on the pod. Tune in.
Guys.
Oh, what is our episode for next week? Did we...
Oh, we're going to do
PP?
pet peeves.
Pet peeves just in time for this pop filter.
We got the pet peeves coming in.
Well, thank you so much, guys. This was a rather heated but exciting and delicious debate over the greatest sporting moments of all time. My name is Oliver. As always, I'm joined by Cam, Liam, and producer Steen. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. This has been a pleasure, as always.
Thank you, team. Good work, everyone.